Blog Talk Radio.
Archangels, ghosts, and Bigfoot. Oh my! It's just another night for Supernatural Girls. Real stories, real answers to life's biggest supernatural mysteries. And now for another exciting interview with paranormal experts from this world and others. Psychic medium Helene Olsen and paranormal researcher Patricia Baker. Here are Supernatural Girls.
Welcome, everybody, to Supernatural Girls. And today is June 8th, 2013. Helene will be joining us shortly. She's having a technical meltdown, but she will be on the air to join us in just a few minutes. And we've got a very exciting show tonight because back by popular demand is Robin Foy, who was the lead investigator and medium in the Scole Experiment. And Helene, I see that you just went live. Are you here with us?
Yes, I am.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I had a back feed from another speaker that was on in my computer, so nobody wants to hear that.
No.
Yeah,
no,
well, welcome everybody. It's just another beautiful night in New England. We did have a lot of rain yesterday, didn't we, Patricia?
I'm so sick of it, so I'm glad. I hope it's over for at least a few days.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a strange spring here, but there's a lot coming out on, for the solstice and all of that. But it just seems like time is going so quickly. It's already June 8th, and I can't believe it. I'm already thinking about September.
Oh, God, I can't think about September. My garden isn't even fully planted.
It feels like it's next week, though, to me. I can't explain it. I just feel like every day I wake up, time is just keeps moving ahead so quickly.
It is. It absolutely is, and it is kind of a little scary.
It is. And, in New England, we had a lot of snow days, so my kids are not done with school until June 28th, Patricia.
That's
and
great.
It is, and I spent the afternoon, hope none of the teachers are listening, building the Great Wall of China that's due in school on Monday morning, so,
So you and your children were doing the project together, huh?
Yeah, well, that's what's expected these days, it seems, so.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I don't know. It's I give you credit, Helene, twin boys and taking care of everything that you have to do for twin boys and all their school projects. I just can't imagine it. It's just so much work.
It is, but I've already been through it once with my adult son, and so it's kind of long in the day for me to be doing homework at 6th grade level again.
Yeah.
I'm challenged, Patricia. What can I say?
Oh,
challenged.
gosh. I would be more than challenged. I salute you and your efforts here with your sons.
It's fun, though. It is fun, so. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Well, yeah, so we have some, and I want to ask about your farm. Have you harvested anything yet?
I have harvested parsley, cilantro, basil, and in another 3 weeks, my garlic will be ready.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I have an herb garden, but that's about it, so. And some couple of heads of lettuce growing in a flower box, and that's always fun to grow because it's
very
really
creative
easy to
of you.
pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Dr. Miller would be proud of you.
You have the big farm.
I do. A lot of work, but it's worth it. But, remember when we had Dr. Miller, the wild man, on, and he was so insistent that we all needed to have our own backyard gardens and store food and things like that. So we got to keep up with our guests here.
The thing that really fascinated me, though, was the picture of the bear on your Facebook page. I live in suburban America. I don't live out in the wilderness like you do.
Now, this is the wilderness.
I looked at that and I gasped.
Yeah.
I just said, Wow, I'm worried about an errant dog walking through the neighborhood, you know.
Yeah, we worry more about the bear, the moose, the mountain lion, but that's okay. We also learn to live together here, so that's what we do. That's what we do up here.
Does the bear help you dig in the garden? Do they eat your
stuff?
Oh,
he will destroy the garden, I'm sure, if we let him get close to it. So got to keep him at bay. Hopefully he'll find another food source somewhere else, somebody else's backyard.
Yeah, I know they eat everything, so.
Yeah, the turkeys, the raccoons. I mean, it's just endless. It's a battle.
Yeah. Well, you have some supernatural news tonight that's kind of creepy, Patricia. I have to say, it's creepy.
It is creepy. You know, it's this stuff. I almost didn't want to report on it, but I thought we have to tell our listeners what's going on with these black-eyed kids, because these reports started coming in, I believe it was from Australia and maybe even New Zealand, and this started back around 1997, 1998. So these are fairly recent reports, not much at all before that time period. And these kids, they're not kids, obviously, but they look like children, and they would approach people. For example, one of the first reports that ever came out was this man was sitting in his car, and these two kids came up and wanted a ride. And they became insistent, and something in this man just said, this is dangerous, this is not right, you know, there's something terribly wrong about this, and he wouldn't let them in the car. And when he refused to let them in the car, he looked at their eyes and saw that their eyes were totally black. So
you mean the irises and the pupils? Yeah.
Yes, everything black. So he just drove out of there like a bat out of hell, and he was scared to death. And that was one of the first reports that came out. And then there were others where people would hear somebody knocking on their window in their house or somebody ringing their doorbell, and it would be these children. Again, they're not children. You and I both know that. But they appear to be children, and they want to come in. And the people, again, who answer the door, most of them are intuitive enough to feel there's something terribly wrong. They don't let the children in. The children become angry and insistent. And there's only one report that just came out the other day that this guy that wasn't tuned into himself let them in. Big mistake. And he ended up just screaming in fear, running from his own house to his neighbor's house, and said to this guy, you got to come back to my house with me. I'm scared to death. These two kids, but they're not kids, because, again, he saw their eyes turn black. And his neighbor didn't believe him at first. And he said, listen, their eyes turned black, and they said they were there to collect me. Now, what that means is anybody's guess, but it doesn't sound good.
No.
So he went back to his house with his neighbor, and they couldn't find any sign of these supposed children. But it's a very unusual phenomenon. These are not shadow people. These are black-eyed kids, and we're getting more and more reports in about them, but nobody has a clue really where they're from, but you and I kind of have a clue. So what do you think these things are?
Well, when I think about it, first of all, terror strikes my heart, first of all.
Yeah.
The second thing is that I'm not convinced that they're entirely physical. I think that they can appear in a physical way, but they're actually energetic. And so I don't know if they're coming in from another dimension or they're negative entities appearing in physical form, but it's not good, Patricia. Now, what country was this man in that he was the one who let them in his house?
You know, that wasn't reported. That part was not reported, so I don't know.
Huh. Yeah. But we have to say that most of these reports are coming out of, like, Australia, Europe, and places like that, right?
Yes, most of them. That's where it started. And then I did see a few reports from this country. However, again, it's a mystery. I mean, why did it start in Australia and New Zealand? And, again, I think it's making its way here. It's a strange phenomenon, and it feels to me like it is interdimensional. And some other dimension, which again could include the demonic force, is coming through and taking on the shape of these children.
Well, in my work with clearing people of energy and things like that, I have seen demonic energy appear in my third eye as children. And then they turn into monsters, as you're trying to get rid of them or whatever. But they do appear to people energetically in their third eye as children sometimes. And so I'm not sure that this energy is exactly demonic the way we think of it, but we have to remember that not all dimensions are the same as ours, and so it's clearly sort of a malevolent thing, not something good. So.
Yeah, and again, it just seems like people's own intuition is telling them that something's terribly wrong. So there must be something terribly wrong. These people are sensing it, and they're refusing to let these children into their homes. And they said that they can look anywhere between, 9 and 10 years old to 17 years old. So it's a wide range in terms of what they perceive the age of this child or these children to be. There's so many, I don't know, there's just a lot going on with this that is quite fascinating to me.
Well, I have to say that I think that all of the connections all around the universe, whatever way you want to phrase it, are more open than they ever were before. Or maybe they were open in the long and distant past and then closed, but now they're reopening. I guess I should put it that way, because I believe interdimensionals lived here openly in ancient times. But I really think that all of the gateways of light, all of the energy that's changing around the planet is creating an opening not just for light and angels and all kinds of wonderful things, but also creating an opening for other things to come through. And
well, I think you're right. I think you said it so accurately earlier when we were discussing this. It's like these worlds are colliding. The dimensions the doors are wide open, things are coming through that weren't coming through necessarily before, and they're not necessarily harmonious. So it does, as you say, kind of strike terror into your heart to think that these things could take on a form like that. Because so many people would think they're innocent children, they need help, and they're not.
Yeah. I mean, they have to be very, very powerful to be able to appear in physical form that way. Yeah, and, even in this country, I guess, we're so sensitive about the welfare of children and so forth. If any normal child knocked on my door saying they were lost or needed help, I wouldn't let them in the house because, you start wondering about the legality of that and all the items that you can think of that can go wrong. I would just say, wait here, and I'd call the police,
Yeah.
Well,
that's
the
what
child
it's come
needs
to,
help. That's what, you can't just let a stranger into your house no matter who they are these days. It's too dangerous.
Exactly.
You don't know what you're going to encounter.
Exactly. That's true. That's true. Well, tonight we have a very special guest, as you know, one of our very favorite, Robin Foy, and he always brings with him a bunch of other people, doesn't he, from the other side?
Well, I had a nice conversation with one of them today, so that was fun.
Yes, we'll have to share that with Robin and see what he has to say about it. But certainly this is one of our most exciting guests because he has so much to say about life after death and the proof that they uncovered during their 5-year Scole Experiment in the UK. So shall we bring him in to our conversation?
Absolutely. Welcome, Robin. You're live on the air with Patricia and Helene.
Hi, that's lovely. Lovely to talk to you again.
Nice to talk to you, and you're coming in loud and clear, and that's great.
Yeah, this is exactly what I was thinking. You sound like you're right in the room with us.
Well, there you go. It's sort of it's quite nice and clear here in sunny Spain at the moment. Not so much sun though, 3 a.m, but nevertheless.
Oh. God bless you for getting up so early to talk with all of us. Thank you so much.
No problem.
We really appreciate it, Robin. Have you already had your coffee, or are you waiting until later? Or are you going back to sleep?
No, I think I shall hit the sheets again later on. Yeah.
Oh,
nice.
Good for you. Well, so we want to know, first of all, there may be some people in our audience that are just getting familiar with the Scole Experiment. So if you wouldn't mind, please just bring everybody up to date on how this whole thing came together, the Scole Experiment, how you got involved and things like that. So everybody's up to speed.
Yeah, okay. Well, first and foremost, I've been involved with my wife in sort of psychic research for about 40 years now. So we've sort of been involved in the physical mediumship side for virtually that long. And over those years, we had many different circles to develop physical mediumship. I've sort of known about physical mediumship right from the beginning of my research, in that the first circle, development circles I joined was actually a physical circle. That was in Leicester in the UK. And we started to get a bit of phenomena in that place. But the leader of the circle was a guy called Elmer Brown, and he knew Leslie Flint very well. Leslie Flint was a very famous independent voice medium, and he had sort of voices that came out of midair and were able to converse with everybody who was present. And he used to take the group there about every 6 months or so for a sitting with Leslie. And I'd been in the group sort of about 3 months or so, and I got taken along with the group. And when I was sitting in Leslie's place there, he was sitting in the dark, but he joins in the conversation, or did. He's passed now. But we had a conversation with probably 15 different spirit people. Conversations went on from 2 minutes to 15 minutes. And it was just so amazing that I was totally hooked on physical mediumship. And really got myself heavily involved with psychic research into that, particularly.
I have to interrupt you here, Robin, because I want to make sure that people understand that you were sitting in this group, and it wasn't that a person was speaking the spirit's words; it's that the spirit's voice came directly into the room, independent of the medium. Is that correct?
That's it exactly. With Leslie Flint, he was what we call an ectoplasmic-based medium, because his phenomena was produced by ectoplasm, and there was a voice box created out of this ectoplasmic stuff, really, that was probably situated mainly about 6 feet in front of Leslie Flint. And the spirit voices would speak through this ectoplasmic voice box. So they were totally separate from the medium. And, in fact, Leslie Flint would join in the conversation with the spirit people, the same as ourselves. He was quite conscious. But he was an amazing medium.
Yeah, amazing. And the way I'm getting this is that the energy of the voice actually was projected through Leslie. He had to be there for this to occur. Is that correct?
He did, because basically anything that's ectoplasmic is actually still joined to a physical medium. And this is usually done, in fact, through a psychic rod, which projects from the medium. It can come from his mouth, it can come from his solar plexus, and the voice sort of travels through the ectoplasmic rod into the voice box, which is totally separate. But Leslie's mind doesn't come into this process at all. It is purely and simply the spirit that's speaking in his own voice that he had when he was on Earth.
And that's amazing, because I know as a medium I can hear people's voices in my head, but it's not that the voice is being projected into the room. And that's only happened to me.
That's clairaudience, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, right, yeah. And actually, a voice in the room has happened to me twice. But I felt that it wasn't coming through me. I felt that the spirit was so strong that they were actually able to project into the room, which people over years have told me that they've heard a voice in a room, like several people be sitting there and hear the voice of their mother come through with a few words, or whatever. And I think spirits are able to project in that way, not through a medium, Is that correct?
Well, that's right. And, of course, the ectoplasmic method is the traditional method for physical mediums to produce phenomena, which is actually everybody in the room can see, can hear, and can witness. But what we did at Scole was totally different, because when we started the Scole group, we had a spirit team that worked with us, and that spirit team were working in a brand new way, using only a mixture of energy rather than ectoplasm. And so we had independent voices, but they were totally separate from either of the two mediums who were in trance. They were produced really by the energy from the group itself, but they could be heard in the room, and we carried on conversations with these spirit people in this way for anything up to 1 hour.
And these people that came through from the spirit group, a number of them were famous. A number of them were recognizable.
Yeah, well, yes, indeed, they were. The majority of them were well-known names, but they always used a different name when they communicated with us at Scole, because they said that they really didn't want to be. They thought that the phenomena and what they were saying was more important than who they were. So they didn't want everybody in the room to be sitting there saying, "Is this so and so? Isn't this so and so?" They really wanted to just put the point over and the important points they had to say, but without sort of saying their real name as such. We all knew at Scole who they were, but a lot of people that came to sit with us didn't.
Oh, so now one of the famous people that did come through and even was able to sign his name so that it appeared on film is Thomas Edison, correct?
Yes, indeed. Yes, he did. And in fact, he actually designed a little machine or a little device which the spirit team asked us to build so that we could communicate directly with spirit, but actually not through any other medium than a simple tape recorder or this little device, in fact, which we built for them.
That's amazing. And, you know, it also seems that a lot of the things, and this is not to be critical of anybody else's ghost hunting experiences, but the Scole Experiment is just stellar in the types of evidence that you produce, because you had clear voice communication, you had clear filming, video, and you had clear stills. Plus, you had the Research Society in the UK involved in this. And, there were just so many different elements of what you did that were just beyond what everybody else has been able to do.
Yes, we did indeed. And, in fact, the research guys called it the bundle of sticks syndrome, in that if you have one thing happen in a room or in a group, and it seems to be evidential, it's easy to break one stick. But if you tie a bundle of sticks together and have so many different things happening at the same time and getting so much evidence in different ways, then you can't break a complete bundle of sticks as you would do one single stick. And that's really why the evidence was so good for us.
So you attribute it to the fact that this group on the other side was a group. They were working together, kind of like what you're saying is like the Hiawatha thing, what we would describe over here, is the strength in numbers and the fact that they had a camaraderie on the other side in terms of really desiring this type of communication to be successful.
Well, very, very much so. And in the case of Thomas Edison, he designed this little device for us. He put this device on a piece of film, 35 millimeter film, that had never actually been in a camera, never even been taken out of its box. And when we developed it, this wonderful sort of blueprint was on there to build this machine that we actually termed the TDC device, standing for Trans-Dimensional Communication Device. It contained a little piece of germanium, which we were asked to put in there, and a couple of coils. And eventually, once the team had learned to use this properly, they were able to speak to us through it, but it was plugged into a couple of amplifiers so that we were able to hear everything that was being said. And the very first person to speak through it was Thomas Edison himself. And he spoke to us for 15 minutes. And that's actually recorded somewhere. So, the man himself actually spoke to us.
That's incredible.
Amazing.
My goodness.
It is.
Isn't it?
It's
great.
Yeah, it's just incredible. I have a question, though. Normally, as a medium, if someone wants to speak to a loved one who's been gone from this plane for 40 or 50 years, sometimes it's really difficult to kind of get a hold of them because they've kind of faded their connection with the earthly plane, and many times people are reborn slower or quicker. They come back, they go to another place in the universe, whatever that is. To what do you attribute being able to reach these people who've been gone for so long? Are they guides now, or are they elevated? They are on a bigger evolution.
Not as such. I certainly wouldn't describe them as guides, but they are, they are people that have been interested, generally speaking, in mediumship and in psychic things during their lifetime, and they actually continue to work along that theme once they get to the other side.
I see. So they just stay there, connected to the earthly plane longer, is what you're saying.
In a lot of cases, but there is a certain amount of elevation that you were mentioning before as well, in that these people evolve spiritually on the other side. I mean, once we all pass on, we all continue to evolve spiritually, but some of these guys are fairly highly evolved. And where we had a spirit team, we had probably 8, 9, 10 people that spoke to us, spirit people that spoke to us on a regular basis. But we were told that behind the scenes there were several hundred minds that were involved in the work we were doing. But having said that, we we complied with everything the spirit team wanted, and because of that, things would happen. They were able to achieve things. But these guys also were answerable to a more evolved group who were sort of running our group, if you like a board of directors. And in fact, these characters called themselves the Council of Communion. And this Council of Communion consisted of 13 very evolved personalities in the spirit world, who were not just running our group, but this Council of Communion were also involved with helping run other groups who were working in the same way as we were, research groups. So they sort of oversaw not just one group, but several groups. And in that group, we were in touch. We were very lucky because we were actually able to be in vocal contact on different occasions with one of the members of that Council of Communion, who called himself Paxton. And he was a very, very evolved character, but we could not actually contact him directly when we had visitors. He only would come when we had the closed group sitting together. But also, we learned that there was another character actually in that group who gave his name as Abraham, and we've since discovered that we believe that particular member of the Council of Communion is actually Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, my goodness.
Amazing. Well, Robin, we're going to take this opportunity to take a break, and I hope everyone stays tuned to this fascinating conversation. Thank you.
Right.
Your property tax bill. Have you seen it lately? It's frightening. Your property taxes are going up while your home value is going down. It's time to fight back and win. For the real truth about the property tax system, get attorney Pat Quintilian's book, Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Attorney Quintilian answers all your questions and gives you the facts you need to fight a property tax bill that is spiraling out of control. You'll also read about what happens to property owners who don't check their property records, only to find out too late they're taxed on square footage, fixtures, and even buildings that they don't own. Is this happening to you? Learn your rights. Buy attorney Pat Quintilian's book today. Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Available on Amazon.com.
Sometimes life can be a challenge, Would you like insight and guidance to help you make the best choices right now? Contact Helene at angelslighthouse.com to make your personal appointment for a psychic reading or energy alignment. Helene is a direct channel to the angelic realm and is remarkably capable of connecting to the living as well as to your loved ones on the other side. Helene is available to clients all over the world via phone or Skype, and it's simple to set up a group reading anywhere. Visit angelslighthouse.com, where you'll find an easy way to schedule right online. And while you're there, sign up for the Angels Lighthouse newsletter and receive information on all the free energy circles, giveaways, and jewelry with a message. Visit angelslighthouse.com and contact Helene today.
For staying tuned. This is I don't even have words to describe this conversation about Robin Foy's experience with physical mediumship in the Scole group. But anybody who has a question is welcome to call in at 646-478-0828. And Robin, if you don't mind, we have a question from an audience member. And we're welcoming Maddie live on the air from Atlanta. Hello, Maddie.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Hello, Maddie.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Do you have a question for Robin tonight?
Yeah. I have a question. Robert, it doesn't, I just tuned in, so I didn't get the beginning of the show, but did I hear you say it doesn't matter how long one has crossed over a channel, we'll be able to channel them through?
It depends. Some people do, in fact, reincarnate before too long when they've passed over. But there are a lot of spirit personalities in the spirit world who have been there for an awful long time. We did actually have communication and are still, to a certain extent, having communication with Abraham Lincoln. And, of course, he's been there quite some time. So it is possible to speak to people in the spirit world who have been there quite some time.
Uh-huh.
Did that help
you,
Maddie?
Are you doing any channeling tonight?
Sorry, missed that.
I said, are you channeling tonight?
Are you channeling?
I don't think we'll be channeling. No, we're not.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know, yes.
No.
Okay.
No. Thank you for the call, Maddie. We appreciate you listening.
Yeah, yes, it's very interesting, yes, because I've been told that I have potential for mediumship, and that's why it caught my attention.
Yeah. If you'd like to get interested in that, it's my suggestion that you find a really good teacher and learn how to do it so that you can do it with ease and grace and call in the correct energy. Okay?
Okay, I'm quite sure there's quite a few around here in hot Atlanta.
Yeah.
Just got to find the right one.
Yeah, that's right, someone who resonates with you. And thanks for the call, Maddie.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Robin, why don't you take this opportunity, Robin, to give your website and how people can reach you and your groups and information about your group?
Yes, certainly. A lot of people have been asking me recently about my first book. That is actually still available, and the book is called In Pursuit of Physical Mediumship. And that's available from Amazon.com or from Amazon.co.uk in paperback still at the moment. My other book, which is the latest book and which gives all the details about the Scole Experiment, is called Witnessing the Impossible, and that one can be bought on the website www.scoleexperiment.com. For people who are really interested in physical mediumship, and in physical mediums around the world, I have a special site where I do help people around the world to actually develop physical mediumship themselves. And that one is http physical mediumship, all one word, 4, that's the number 4, and then the letter U, so it's physical mediumship 4U .ning, NING.com. We have about 2,300 members in that group all over the world. Many of those people are developed physical mediums, and many of those people are in the process of developing physical mediumship and its phenomena themselves.
Well, thank you, Robin. That's great. And, there's a free archive available on this show forever, so anybody who didn't get a chance to copy down those links can go back when we're done with the show and listen again and write down the information. Robin, I know you have a lot of new information to share with us tonight, but we do have another caller on the line. Would you like to take another call now?
Absolutely, no problem.
Okay. Sure. We're welcoming Josh from Washington with a question about your book. Hello, Josh. You're live
Robin.
on the air.
Hey, Robin. This is
Hello, Josh.
Shapiro and Katrina Head. How are you doing today?
Fine, thank you. Yes, nice to hear you.
Yes, I'm one of your members on your mediumship site, and I recommend it to all the people who have it. Robin, as you know, I had an opportunity to bring my crystal skulls to the Scole Hole several years ago.
Yep.
They were forever changed energetically, and I've read all of your books. But the main thing that I would like to ask is, I'm sure, like many other people, we do not need to be convinced of the reality of spirit and the other dimensions. But what is of interest to me is what kind of information or messages did the council or the representatives of the council who appeared to you during your experiment, what did they share with you exactly about where they are, what it's like, or even messages for humanity? Could you share that, please?
Yeah, well, basically, we had an awful lot of communication. As you know, the Scole Experiment was spread over more than 1,000 hours of communication with the spirit world. And over that time, we learned an awful lot of points about the spirit world, about how mankind came about in some cases, and the fact that there had been people from other dimensions and other worlds on this earth, mingling with people, with people on Earth, sort of several thousands of years ago. That came out as well. Plus the fact that we did, on occasions, actually have a materialized personality in the group who was actually from another dimension or another world. So we were able to make contact with those people. The spirit people themselves were very concerned about this world and about the fact that, to a certain extent, mankind has made such a mess of it. And many of the things that they tried to do with us was to sort of bring mankind out of the mess in the world and to get us to do something about it. Hopefully, they were going to sort of or working towards a situation where they could produce much of the evidence they gave us in full light. But before that was able to happen, the experiment finished. So we never got the complete picture that we wanted from the spirit team at that time, although bits of it have sort of come out since, not through Scole, but through other mediums that we've been in touch with. But the basic thing was that they cared about mankind, and they wanted to help us sort of sort the world out. The whole thing, the spirit world and this earthly world, they were trying to ensure was based on love, which is the key to everything. So I think it was all a very loving message and a very loving interaction with the spirit people and with the other dimensions.
Did they give any specific messages related to this year of 2013?
No, not as such, because basically we finished the experiment in 1998. and we hadn't got as far as 2013 at that time.
Thank you for the call, Josh. We really appreciate your listening and participating. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that was an excellent question, and I have one more follow-up question to that myself before we get on to your new endeavors and information. I have heard from the angelic realm that our vibration on this planet kind of disrupts other dimensions and the angelic realm as well. Did you hear any information about the vibration of the Earth as a whole?
Yes, in fact, some certain parts of the communication between our words has become more difficult, and a lot of this is caused by the sort of lower vibrations that we have on the Earth these days. There's an awful lot of dreadful things going on. You click onto the news each and every day, and there's something quite nasty going on in a different part of the world. It seems as though these things are building up. The weather's going mad. We're having tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, all sorts of things that seem to be building up to a situation where this world actually needs saving.
Yes, but are we bothering our neighbors, so to speak, with that?
This is the fact that people from other dimensions that are living on other planets are not too happy about it, because anything we do here, which is detrimental, actually is like a knock-on effect to them.
Right, which is what the angels were trying to tell me many times over the years, that they are connected to us. And so anything that we are vibrating, they are also feeling, and it's disrupting their world as well. So you've confirmed the information I got. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. So what's going on now? What is the new information that you have?
Well, we have quite a lot of people who are developing physical mediumship at this point in time. Many of them are members of my site, and I get to hear the behind-the-scenes stories of some of these groups and some of the results that they're starting to get. And some of them are really quite remarkable in that traditionally physical mediums worked with this substance which is called ectoplasm, which can actually be seen in red light and even in white light. I mean, we have, for instance, there's a brand new, not a brand new, but there's a physical medium called Kai Muga, who's a very good friend of mine, lives in Germany, and he is now going around the world demonstrating his physical mediumship. And Kai gets wonderful displays of ectoplasm in full light, which people can actually witness during one of the sittings there. And this you can actually see the development that's happening with him, because if you visit him, every sort of few months, you see the improvement in the phenomena, and there are now columns of ectoplasm that are building up beside him, which I'm pretty sure within a year or so are going to be literally fully materialized spirit people. In red light. This looks as though this is going to be quite wonderful. And we also have a very good physical medium in Australia, who is David Thompson. He's actually been over in Spain, and he's been able to demonstrate his mediumship over here. He has sort of materializations totally out of ectoplasm there. And only last September, my wife and I, Sandra and I, were able to go to one of his sittings over in Spain here, where Winston Churchill materialized fully, and stood there and said, "My name is Winston Churchill, and I've come to speak to Robin Foy." He walked right across the room to speak to me, and then he asked me where Sandra was, and went over and spoke to her.
Oh, my goodness.
It's quite amazing. I mean, in his own voice and everything.
That's incredible. What a great moment that must have been. I mean, the fact that he recognized you that way, and your wife. I mean, how amazing.
Well, we've worked with him. We've worked with him for nearly 40 years overall. We've had constant contact with him, and he was behind the scenes at Scole, but he was certainly there and helping as much as he could. And we've had quite a few personalities that sort of actually helped there, and not only that, but Sandra and I are now actually redeveloping, or in the process of redeveloping, some physical phenomena ourselves. So we've gone back to it seriously, and we are starting to get some quite good signs at this point that it won't be too long before things start to happen now.
That's exciting.
I'd like to ask you a question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say you brought back so much incredible information, and clearly, again, the group that you've been working with on the other side is quite advanced. I mean, certainly these are evolved spirits that are giving you information, and it's valid information. It's sometimes you get information from the other side and it's a little convoluted. This is very straightforward stuff that you've been getting.
Absolutely, yes.
And there's a big difference here. I just have one question for you, too, because the evidence is, I don't know how anybody in their right mind could think that any differently about life after death. Clearly there is life after death. When you look at all the evidence that was presented by the Scole Experiment over 5 years of time, yet at the same moment, I'm looking at this and I'm saying there was very little press about any of this throughout the rest of the world.
Well, there was, certainly. At the time, they were working very hard to get some quite advanced phenomena. And before we were able to actually put out much of the detail about that phenomena, the experiment had finished. But having said that, we did get to actually demonstrate the phenomena in different parts of the world, including the USA. We were in California and did demonstrations there. Plus in Germany and in parts of Spain and in Holland and France. So we did get the opportunity to sort of move around to different places and demonstrate it. And we had several hundred people, should I say, overall, sort of came into Scole to actually witness these things. But the Spirit team did want us to work very closely with these three scientists from the Society of Psychical Research, so that they would be able to put out a more scientific work detailing what happened at Scole. And in fact, they did that. They put together a book which was called the Scole Report, and that was published initially by the SPR in the UK, but in fact, that's now been republished and is available again. It's a more scientific work about what happened at Scole, and that is available. I think you can get that one again from Amazon.
Wow.
That's great. And I have a question from the chat room, if I can ask this of you, Robin. And this is from the lady physicist in Canada. And she says, let's go back to her question here. She's read all of your books and corresponded with you. And she would call in, but she died. So one thing she has not had a chance to ask you about is, or has read in your books, is whether the Spirit team has spoken to you of ritual magic or any of the darker spirits, like something like what Helene and I were talking about at the beginning of the show, like the dark-eyed children.
I can actually say that hasn't happened, because everything that we had over the 5-year experiment was benevolent and beneficial. It was all based around love, nothing else, and we never came across anything that was negative in any way, shape, or form. So it was a subject that was never brought up. It's something perhaps that they might have talked to us about at a later stage. But the regretful thing, of course, is that we never got that far.
And I have a related question to that, and it's not about dark energy or anything, but from what I've seen over the years, it just appears to me that people have talent for mediumship. Someone can try, and maybe their energetic or physical body isn't really able to get full mediumship with vision and clairaudience and all of that. But among mediums who really do connect to spirit communication, do you think that there is also another level of talent or ability that's necessary to channel ectoplasm? Or do you think that any medium who's already working can do it?
No, I do. I'm quite specific on this in that I think to a certain extent a physical medium who can channel ectoplasm in a real and physical sense has to be born with that ability. I don't think it's something that can be learned. And the way that people work these days and the way that we work at Scole in building phenomena not through one medium but through a group using energy and not ectoplasm can be achieved by anyone if the motivation is right and if the dedication is right in the group. Anybody can really achieve that to a certain extent, but not with the ectoplasm. That's something that's very special. And interestingly now, we're seeing signs that spirit teams of different groups and different mediums are actually combining the two methods to a certain extent to make ectoplasmic mediumship less dangerous for the medium, because in the past it's been a very dangerous thing for the mediums. If somebody did something silly in the room, it could lead to that medium being very badly injured by this substance ectoplasm literally shooting back into their body at high velocity. So that has been very dodgy in the past and is now being addressed presumably by the spirit world so that it's not so dangerous.
That's fascinating. Wow. And so physical mediums know that they have this ability or this talent that was born in them because it just appears one day. Is that correct? Or they're told that they have it?
No, they don't necessarily know about it. Unless they actually start to sit in a group specifically to try and develop this, they don't necessarily know about it. They really need to have the motivation within themselves to try and develop mediumship, and they don't know initially whether that will involve a physical mediumship. Mental mediumship can be developed by most people to a certain extent, not to the extent of being a professional medium, but purely and simply if people make the effort to sit in a developing circle, they can develop mental mediumship to a greater or lesser degree. But again, you need the motivation to do that.
I agree with you on that, yeah. It's fascinating. It's just fascinating. I just am wondering, with all these groups doing this all over the world and following your lead, because you are amazing, Robin. You are so heartfelt and have so much energy to want to share this with the world. You have no ego. There's nothing with you that prevents this from spreading worldwide. Have you encountered any problems with some of these groups or difficulty where they say that dark energy is coming through or they can't get to where they want to get?
One or two people have mentioned it to me. I mean, I do actually counsel some of these groups if they have a problem. Anybody that joins my website and wants to develop it, has access to me from that point of view. I mean, one or two people have actually expressed a concern about something, but we've been able to address it quite easily, and it's not always something dark that they're talking about. Sometimes it can be slightly imagined and not totally real from their point of view.
I understand what you're saying, yeah. Well, that's awesome. So, Patricia, what do you think about what do you think about stepping up for physical mediumship?
I'm excited to do this, and as you know, Robin, we've been discussing putting a group together in order to recreate the Scole Experiment as best we can here in the United States with 4 of us.
Absolutely, yes. I'm extremely interested in that.
Yes, I think it would be. We need your help, obviously, because when I read your book, I mean, there's a download for everybody out there who's interested that you can purchase on Robin's website, and this is Mediumship for You website, and it really is a complete instruction manual, and there's a lot to it. I mean, when I was reading, I was like, oh my goodness, we're definitely going to need guidance here, because as much as you've spelled everything out very clearly and concisely, there's a lot to this. There's like the table with a reflective tape and the glass dome in the room. And, I mean, there's a lot of things going on that you have to have in the room to balance the energy and to receive the energy. So I highly recommend this.
Well, that's quite right. Yes, yeah. And it's the actual instruction booklet, which, as you're saying, is actually quite long, was literally dictated for us by our spirit team at Scole, specifically to help other people to get the same phenomena.
And it's, again, there's so much going on with this that you have to have. Like, tell me this, what is the purpose of the reflective tape that you put on the table?
Well, that's purely and simply there as a focus for the sitters. You only need very small pieces, but the long and the short of it is that if you're sitting in the dark to develop this, and again, we get a lot of people that would sort of say, has it got to be dark, has it not got to be dark? That's something else we could chat about in a moment. But the reflective tape itself purely gives somebody a focus on the table if you're sitting in the dark, and you can see exactly where the table is. And not only that, but when a spirit personality or even a bunch of energy actually passes physically around the room, you'll often see these little tabs obscured as the energy is moving around, or even if a materialized spirit person happens to be in the room.
So it helps to have a reference point with these reflective pieces of tape, then. That's one of the purposes of it?
That's right. And generally speaking, when we sit, we sit around a round table, and we'll fit a very small reflective piece or luminous tape to 4 points of the compass, basically, one on the north, one on the south, one on the east, and one on the west.
Well, it's, again, there's so much to it, and I highly recommend your informational booklet for anybody who's interested in this, because this is not something that you just throw together. You really have to have some thought into this. You have to have the right equipment, and you have to have some level of consistency. So if you think you're going to do this once in a blue moon, that's not the way this works, correct? You have to have some regularity with your meetings.
Yes, you do indeed, and you have to have a little bit of dedication to sort of sit on a regular basis.
Well, thank you, Robin. We're going to use this opportunity to yet again take another break, and when we come back, we'd like to welcome Teresa from Washington, who has a question for you, Robin. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Please stay tuned to this fascinating conversation with Robin Foy of the Scole Experiment.
Sometimes life can be a challenge. Would you like insight and guidance to help you make the best choices right now? Contact Helene at angelslighthouse.com to make your personal appointment for a psychic reading or energy alignment. Helene is a direct channel to the angelic realm and is remarkably capable of connecting to the living as well as to your loved ones on the other side. Helene is available to clients all over the world via phone or Skype, and it's simple to set up a group reading anywhere. Visit angelslighthouse.com, where you'll find an easy way to schedule right online. And while you're there, sign up for the Angels Lighthouse newsletter and receive information on all the free energy circles, giveaways, and jewelry with a message. Visit angelslighthouse.com and contact Helene today.
Your property tax bill. Have you seen it lately? It's frightening. Your property taxes are going up while your home value is going down. It's time to fight back and win. For the real truth about the property tax system, get attorney Pat Quintilian's book, Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Attorney Quintilian answers all your questions and gives you the facts you need to fight a property tax bill that is spiraling out of control. You'll also read about what happens to property owners who don't check their property records, only to find out too late they're taxed on square footage, fixtures, and even buildings that they don't own. Is this happening to you? Learn your rights. Buy attorney Pat Quintilian's book today. Are you getting screwed on your property taxes? How to find out and how to fix it. Available on Amazon.com.
And thank you, everyone, for staying with us. Please call your question in at 646-478-0828, and we're back with Patricia and our wonderful guest, Robin Foy. Is it okay if I take our question now, Robin?
Yes, of course, yeah.
Okay. Well, we're welcoming Teresa from Washington, and you're live on the air, Teresa. Thank you for calling.
Hello, my name is Teresa, and I am from Warren, Michigan, not Washington. I am from Warren, Michigan.
Warren, Michigan. How's the weather in Michigan, Teresa?
Well, we've had a wonderful day. Today it was 68 degrees, no wind, and a little cloudy, but other than that, it was a beautiful day.
Yeah, we had a lucky one here, too, after torrential rain last night, so it was nice to get out today. And what is your question for Robin tonight?
Well, the question I have is, I know that for physical mediumship, the sitters sit in a circle, and when the spirits come in, and through using the ectoplasm, they then raise the trumpets and speak through the trumpets, and they speak directly to us through the trumpets, or later on they'll speak directly in the room. But I know that spirits do not have a voice box. And when you were describing, Robin, when you were describing the machine or the apparatus that Edison came in and, gave the blueprint for this thing to be developed, and the spirit spoke directly through this machine, I was wondering, since spirits don't have voice boxes, how are they able to communicate through this machine?
Well, first and foremost, we're speaking about two different methods here. You were describing trumpets levitating and voices speaking through them. Yes, that can happen, but then again, you're working purely and simply with ectoplasm. The ectoplasmic phenomena is such that the spirit does not have a voice box themselves, but an artificial voice box is created out of ectoplasm. Right. And it's actually through this artificial voice box that the spirit speaks. Mm-hmm. Now, when we're talking about the way that we worked at Scole, it was totally different because we had no ectoplasm. We had only energy. But the energy that we worked with at Scole was actually a mixture of three different types of energy brought together by the spirit team. The first type of energy was spirit energy, which the spirit people brought for us. The second type of energy was actually earth energy, which is a natural earth energy which occurs in the earth or on the earth in spirals in different places. And the third type of energy was actually the spirits themselves bringing their energy. Combine the three together, and what that produced was a creative energy. And it was this creative energy which they used to be able to build a voice box, not ectoplasm, but a creative energy. And they were able to sound very similar to the voices that came from an ectoplasmic artificial voice box. But when it was done through our machine, it was purely and simply the silicon chips in the machine and the germanium chip that was in the device itself, which could create the voices and which they were able to use to project the voices through, and then we heard them out of the amplifier of the little tape recorder, which was connected to the little device. So it was a different way of working. Ours was only energy in a different way, but the way that you described with trumpets, etc., is the way that it works with ectoplasm, but only with an artificial voice box.
I see. That really explains it. That was very helpful. Thank you very much.
Good.
Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much for the call, Teresa.
Oh, yeah, that's a great question, Teresa. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Bye.
We're getting great questions tonight, huh? This is awesome.
I'll tell you what, we have one heck of an intelligent audience. I think every single week we have great questions like this. And, Robin, that was a great answer. Thank you so much for explaining all of that, because it is a lot to take in. How do they speak, and what does it take to hear that voice? And you just explained it perfectly. Thank you.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, I have another question about the team of mediums that gets together. Do you ask permission of the spirit team on who can enter the group, or is anybody who comes there with the right-minded heart and true intention available to be able to sit there and receive information?
Well, for the group itself, we're talking about the core group where you actually develop the phenomena. Then you need to have 4 people, we always said a minimum of 4, maximum of 6 really, who are very much in harmony between themselves, have the right motivation, and have the right dedication to develop it. So you would have that core group, and once you've got the communication physically through the group, then we would wait to see who the group allowed us to bring along. Later on, when it was more perfectly developed, then we were able to actually bring it to anybody that was interested, although we would restrict the number of people who were able to sit in the group with us as guests to about 10 on each occasion.
Mm-hmm. No, thank you. That's just incredible.
So you're starting this up again, Robin, and when you say that, you're getting your group of mediums together now in Spain to do this again?
Well, there's just my wife and I, Sandra and I, are sitting alone 3 times a week at the moment for the development, but also we do sit with another couple so that there's a core group of 4 there, and between us we seem to be progressing in the right direction. That's the main thing.
So you're getting some phenomena already?
We're certainly getting some channeling and some information.
Now, the Scole Experiment that went for 5 years, and I still find this one of the most fascinating elements of your experiment, is how it came to an end. And can you tell our audience about what happened with the visitor from the future?
Yes, well, what actually happened was that when we first started working with the spirit team and we were able to communicate directly with them, they always asked us, they never demanded anything of us, they asked us if they wanted us to do something for them. And because we wanted to work with them, yes, we would always do it and say yes. But they asked us fairly early on, because they were working in this pioneering way, if we would mind if they took the whole experiment and the whole phenomena as far as they possibly could. And, of course, we went along with that, and we said, yes, not a problem at all. And we developed the most wonderful phenomena over that 5-year period. But each time they were going further and further, they pushed the boundaries of psychic research much further than they'd ever been pushed before at that time. And it's rather like the scientific experiments in a laboratory. You can only go so far, and then you find that you're in a cul-de-sac and you have to stop and come back and start again. And sometimes the experiments just don't work at all. But we got to a point where we started to get actually interference from the future. And what we were getting was that two of our group, there were 4 of us in the group, and 2 of them were mediums who actually were in deep trance throughout. And during that period, we were getting interference in the form of a dreadful sort of whistling noise, which we found out eventually was actually coming from the crystals which they were working with in the room. We discovered at a later stage, as the experiment almost finished, that what was happening was that there was another group, rather like ourselves, that were actually psychic researchers, but they were sitting in our future. And what they were using to try and access our group and the information in our group was a crystal probe. And this crystal probe was the thing that was actually emitting these awful noises and stopped our two mediums being in deep trance. So because of that, we literally lost contact totally with our spirit team. But towards the end, we were contacted 4 or 5 times by a character who we think was from another dimension, who called himself Varan Herik. And he explained to us that we had totally lost contact with our spirit team permanently because of this interference. And unfortunately, it meant that they tried to overcome it, and we were able to speak to this Varan Herik directly through the little TDC device we had. And he explained to us eventually that they hadn't been able to overcome this interference, and that every time we sat, this group in the future was sitting at the same time and trying to access us and our timeline. And unfortunately, they had to shut it down because it wasn't permitted by, we think, the lords of the cosmos or cosmic law, or however you like to look at it, that we could be given information from our future that would actually change the future. It gets a bit complicated, but that's the gist of it.
Wow.
This is a lot to understand, but certainly I can see how there would be some concern that you were getting information possibly that would have changed the timeline. People may have made different decisions that would have affected some fated or pre-planned things. I mean, I don't understand the way time works,
yes.
But the very little that my mind can grasp, it does seem like it's quite possible to alter things to the point where it could be dangerous.
That's right, and of course that I think is why it was stopped. But we did come to the conclusion eventually that the character that managed to speak to us right at the end, and it was fascinating in a way because we could hear his voice through the TDC device, which was at that point plugged into the video recorder, and we could actually see his face on the video recorder against the background of the spirit world, actually telling us this information. We could see his lips moving and everything, and the face that we saw on there was basically an outline, as you would imagine, outline round a visible man, but it was quite subtle, and you could actually see the movement of his features and his face and his lips and everything as he spoke to us. We came to the conclusion that he himself was probably one of the more evolved characters that you might term, if you like, a Lord of the Cosmos.
I'm getting him from a totally different dimension, though. Yeah, I'm getting him from a different dimension. Yeah, he wasn't exactly from the spirit world. He was from a very different place. Yeah.
That's right.
Wow. Now, it's very fascinating that Patricia and I are getting information about a team that's being put together for us to start this group. Is that possible?
Yes. That's absolutely important. The thing is that if you have already made a decision to go into this and in a dedicated way and actually sit properly for phenomena, then the team would be in place before you actually start.
Interesting, yeah, because that's what the information that we both have been getting is that this team is not going to be as large as the team that you all worked with. It's going to be a smaller team, but it's also going to be, what did you say, Helene, a little more current in terms of the people that you worked with were from centuries ago, some of them. But it feels like this team is going to be a little closer to us in
he told
time.
me that these were more current people, that they didn't pass, 100 or 200 years ago, that they're more current, possibly from, within this last century, and that they were people who were renowned in their various fields. And there is a human spirit leader who's coming through telling me that the team already consists of himself as sort of a leader, and then 3 women and 3 men. And I was fascinated by that.
Right. That's good, yeah.
Okay.
So we're on the right track, it sounds like. We've got our team, at least they've got themselves organized, and now they just got to wait for us to get it together. Yes. We got to get it together.
Well, telling me right now, what am I asking you for? He already told me.
That sounds like him, too.
This one.
He's great, this guy, and I know you'll know who he is. He's an amazing genius.
And he's sending you love, Robin. So.
That's lovely. Thank you very much.
Yeah, he was a medical doctor and one of the foremost people in the world on psychic research when he was alive, and he had a great sense of humor. I knew him when he was alive. It was devastating when he passed, but it's so nice that we're in contact with him now.
Well,
thanks
yes,
a lot,
indeed.
Patricia.
Yeah, you're welcome, Helene. She's always cursing me out, Robin, because I send her these people. They wake her up, they keep her awake at night. Oh, well.
That's it.
It's fascinating to me, really, how present they can be, because, of course, Robin, we know that we don't really die, in the way people think of it. Our soul just continues in love and light, and it's amazing to me that
I think the best way to look at it is that it's almost like taking off an old overcoat, and sort of emerging sort of out of the old overcoat.
Yes. I don't know. I mean, I'm fascinated by the idea that they would come through and give us information, but it kind of makes me feel uneasy sometimes because, we're trying to change the vibration of the earth. And it feels like a daunting task, and the information has just been widespread in the media about angels and love and charity and all of these great things. But, I don't turn on the news if I can avoid it. Other people in my family do sometimes.
No, it's also negative, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and it just seems like I'm doing all this, all these other thousands and millions of people are doing all this. Do you think we're really getting anywhere, Robin?
Absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt whatsoever that there are more and more light workers, I like to call them, sort of coming out of the woodwork and being born and sort of coming into this. And gradually, you're getting more and more positive vibrations, more and more positive thoughts that will overcome anything that shouldn't be there. And it's moving forwards. I mean, it's like the rolling stone, it sort of gathers snow as it goes along. And the whole thing is getting bigger and bigger and better and better. And I'm sure that, the problems that the Earth has will, in fact, be overcome with the help of so many people.
Well, that's encouraging because, again, as we look around us, there's quite a lot of angst and anxiety about some of the problems that we're facing. But what I'm encouraged about, at least from this perspective on this side of the veil, is it looks like people are attempting to wake up and own their power, see that they do have a voice, they can make a difference in the choices that they make in their own lives. And I think we've come through a period of just total complacency where people have just sat on their rear ends, quite honestly, and not really wanted to take a stand or wanted to speak up for the truth and for love and protecting the innocent. It looks like the tide has changed and has shifted, which is very exciting.
Very, very much so, yes. It is, I'm sure we're all going to emerge from this period, sort of all the better for it all in the end.
Are you involved at all in any of the 5D energy that's arrived or opened up on this planet?
I think we're being tied into various pockets of the different energy now, yes. Mm-hmm. And as far as we understand, many thousands of years ago, when sort of amphibians and other beings sort of walked on the Earth, certain crystals and certain things were actually buried in the Earth crust, which are now being reawakened, and the energy that these things contained is now being allowed out. And I think this is going to help the whole system of the Earth so that it goes forwards and overcomes this dreadful blackness that's been around it for so long.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you're talking about Lemurian crystals and record keepers and all of this kind of crystal tools that people are using to open up light on the Earth and connect to the universe and all that's good,
Very much so, yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're remarkable, they really are, and it's not hard to activate them, I'll tell you. All you have to do is intend, and they seem to be full of information.
That's right, exactly, yes, yeah.
Well, Helene, you also have a special, I think, attunement with these crystals, because I've seen what you've done with charging your jewelry and other items that people are then able to purchase from you, because I can see the difference in the energy before and after. So I think you have a special gift with that. Yes, we can say we all have this ability, but you really do have an ability to tune in and have the crystals work with you. So,
but I think crystals are alive. They're just alive. And they're full of information, and they actually want to help the Earth. They are of the Earth. They're of the crystal kingdom, and they're absolutely present right now. And so many people are using crystals, planting them in the Earth, opening gateways and energies of light with the crystals, and actually obtaining very interesting information through crystal skulls and other methods with crystals that is just amazing. So it's all part of the same journey into awakening and bringing the light in,
What about Egypt?
Well, that's quite true, and it was very interesting that when we were at Scole, we actually had quite a few different crystal clusters and crystals themselves apported for us as little gifts.
Yes, and about those apportments, how can you explain the appearance of physical objects in your space?
Basically, they are sort of little gifts, if you like, that come from the spirit world, and I mean, they organise this when you've got a circle, when you're working with physical mediumship, physical energy. They're able to actually do this, and it was actually something similar to this that finally convinced the three scientists that sat with us on a regular basis that everything was 100% genuine and that there really was life after death. Because we had one experiment that the spirit team did for them on one occasion where a materialized spirit hand actually picked up a crystal and put it into a Pyrex bowl or dish that we had on the table. And all this was happening whilst the crystal had a spirit light inside it, so it was totally lit up. And each of the three scientists in turn was asked to pick up this crystal, which they did, and they put it back in the bowl, and they confirmed that it was totally solid. But within a moment of them putting it back in the bowl, they were asked to pick it up again. The crystal had remained totally visible with the light inside it all the time that this had been going on. And the second time they tried to pick it up, their fingers went straight through it. So, in fact, what had happened was that the atoms and molecules within that crystal had actually been temporarily removed by the spirit team, and what was left and what we were seeing was actually the essence of the crystal, not the crystal itself. And then moments later, really. Of course, the same thing happened again, and they were able to pick it up a third time, and it was solid again. But they explained to us on that occasion that this was the process they'd use for apportation, in that they took the sort of atoms and molecules out of an object somewhere, brought it into the room where people were sitting, and then it was totally reconstituted again. So that was the sort of process they were talking about, apportation. But also, another lesson to be learned from that was that they were saying that the human soul is very much like the spiritual essence of that crystal. In other words, the body falls away, the atoms and molecules fall away when we die, but our souls, our spirit self, our soul, if you like, is still there, just as bright and totally the same as it was before we supposedly died. But there is no death, so we all live on afterwards.
And I agree
what a great
with that.
example.
Yeah. Perfect explanation. So here's a funny question for you, and I am being a little bit funny about this. Sometimes, occasionally, an object that I left somewhere absolutely disappears. And I stand there and say, why did you take that to another dimension? Could you please bring it back? I don't even know who I'm talking to, Robin. But I lose a lot of objects anyway because I'm a little bit scatterbrained. But do you believe that objects are taken or slip into another dimension? In the reverse?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a good example of this happened to Sandra and I many years ago when we had another circle. I mean, we weren't at that time involved with working with energy, but nevertheless, we did have a circle. And we were getting some minor phenomena with different people than we had in the Scole group. And when we came down, we had a circle room upstairs we used to use on a regular basis. When we came down, we actually couldn't find a hamster or a guinea pig that was our daughter's that was sitting in a locked cage, and it seemed to have disappeared totally. And we had the whole circle all over the house on their knees looking for this thing, and it didn't reappear at that stage. But then when we went back into the kitchen it had been in previously, it had just totally reappeared, just sort of sitting on top of the cage, but the cage was still locked. And this actually happened on another occasion. The thing that disappeared after another one of our sittings, and Sandra was a bit fed up with this because one of the daughters had sort of, she knew that she'd be in real trouble if the guinea pig had disappeared totally. So she actually went back into the kitchen where the cage was and said, look, please bring this guinea pig back, or hamster, or whatever it was. And at that very moment, this animal actually appeared right in front of her eyes. And I don't know whether you ever watched Star Trek, the series where people were beamed up sort of from a spaceship to Earth, etc. And this is exactly how this appeared, because it appeared to start off with as a light, and this light sort of gradually grew into the outline of the animal, and then the animal gradually became more and more solid until it was back again. And that actually happened right in front of Sandra. So yes, these things are taken away. In that case, it was one of the little guides, a little girl from the spirit team we'd been working with, who actually used to play tricks on us. But that actually happened, and then over the years, we've had several pets actually apported again from outside into a locked room, or from a locked room outside. So that's happened to us with animals several times. I must say, though, none of the animals was ever permanently hurt at all. It was all very benign.
Well, that's good.
Now, do you think this was the animal's intention or the spirit world's intention?
No, definitely the spirit world intention.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what do you think is happening to my objects?
Yeah,
who's taking them? I don't know.
Well, that's right. I mean, it does happen from time to time. A lot of people actually find this does happen, and it could just be that you've got a spirit personality around who's a child or who's being a little bit mischievous. But it is something that happens. It's happened to an awful lot of people I know, and to us regularly. but eventually some of these things will turn up in a place that's extremely prominent, probably right in the middle of a table or something like that, So
right.
Yeah.
Kind of like teaching us a big lesson. Yeah. Actually, there's another question about this in the chat room from our physicist here, and what they're saying is the apport process more like a phase shifting of the subatomic particles or an actual removal of them?
I think it's probably a phase shifting. And as we understand more about quantum physics, I think we'll learn a lot more about this.
Yeah, I think you're right. And the physicist agrees. Says, yes, me too.
All right.
Now, I got a really important question to ask you about food, because it seems like this kind of work, it makes you really hungry, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. Yeah, I can guarantee that.
Okay, because I will tell you this, that I'm a skinny person, but if I keep doing this kind of work, I'm probably going to weigh about 1,000 pounds, because when Helene and I do this stuff, even during the show, because I can feel some of your group has been talking to us here, and our new group has been talking to us, I want to go in the kitchen and tear the refrigerator apart. I mean, I am starving right now.
Yeah, but you know, Patricia, I'm not skinny like you. I know it. I have a mirror. But I have to say that this energy work and all of this connection makes me ravenous. But I can't say that I've actually gained a lot of weight, because I think you're actually losing calories when you do this, believe it or not.
Yeah, I think you're right in that. Yeah.
That's good. That's encouraging.
Did you gain weight doing this, Robin?
Oh, yes, yeah. If you could see me now, I weigh quite a lot.
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness. What are we going to do? Well, it might be just one of these side effects. We're going to have to deal with it.
I haven't gained weight doing it, so I've lost weight over the past year, so maybe I'm just trying harder than I think I am. But, yeah. It's
just an interesting phenomenon. How it makes you hungry as can be. Now, Robin, what about Egypt? Because I think when we spoke last, you did say that you had some information come through about the pyramids and how they were built through sound and different things like that. Did you have any big-time pharaohs come through, winged pharaohs, people that had lived at that time and and were awakened at that time?
Not as such then, but we do believe now, and I don't think that we have exactly the same spirit team wanting to work with us as we did in the past. And I think that perhaps in previous incarnations, both Sandra and I have actually had connections with Egypt. And I do think we do actually have Egyptian influences now, that are working with us.
And is that, now I know there was a lot said by different researchers about something called the Nine, and they felt it emanated from Egypt and before Egypt. Is that any energy that you had a direct experience with, anybody from the Nine?
Not as such, no. We were getting some information about how the pyramids had been built, and the very fact that it was done through levitation of very, very heavy objects, or very, very heavy blocks of stone, by sound. And that has actually been proven, in not too recent times, by people. I think there was one particular guy in America who was able to do that, and he's now passed, but not all that long ago, and he was able to demonstrate it. And we do know of sort of Buddhist monasteries and things, and in the Himalayas that actually still practice this, where they're able to levitate very heavy objects by sound alone.
Yeah, that's incredible, and I know exactly who you're talking about. Coral Castle in Florida is the gentleman you were just referring to, who was able to crack the code. Yeah. Yes, he came from Europe somewhere and came over here and created this enormous just spectacle of what can be done when you can move heavy objects with sound, but he would never let anybody see exactly how he did it. It was fascinating. But yeah, so
that's right.
Yeah, that all makes a lot of sense. Now, I have a question too about one of your team members from the other side. Do you have a woman over there that wears or likes to wear a lace dress? Because that's somebody who comes through loud and clear, not just to me, but other people, and she identifies herself as a part of your group.
That is certainly quite possible. I mean, I myself have had a healing guide who was very much, from the Victorian era and was the first lady doctor in the UK, and also the main. One of the main sort of helpers that was at the forefront of our spirit team was probably exactly as you're describing.
Okay. Do you have name? Did she have a name?
She did. She was called Emily.
Emily. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we have another question online right now, so we'll welcome Patrick from Jacksonville live on the air. Hello, Patrick. How are you today?
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks. Do you have a question for Robin tonight?
Okay, so I'm kind of new to Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah.
So,
welcome.
What
is your
what kind of questions are you going to
ask? You need to have a question for Robin, Patrick. Oops, I lost Patrick. I don't know what happened to him. I'm sorry, Patrick. I apologize for that. And I don't know if his call dropped. Blog Talk plays little tricks on us sometimes with the board. So we'll wish Patrick well and thank him for listening and calling in. Yeah, that's really fascinating about Emily. She came through loud and clear to you, Patricia.
Yes,
I think I saw her once or twice.
Yes, she has too. Other people, too, have seen her come through. But, again, she's very much a part of your group, Robin, and she is very powerful in the way that she communicates and the way that, her presence is just amazing. I mean, it's corporeal to me. She actually did touch me the last time that you came on the show 2 nights before. I was paid a visit by her and a whole bunch of people, and she was the one who was able to actually make physical contact. And she comes back every once in a while, and I'm very intrigued with her. And her abilities are remarkable. And, that's what's so interesting is that here on this side of the veil, there are people like Helene who have remarkable abilities, you and your wife who have remarkable abilities. The same is true on the other side where people have passed. There are people like Emily who are particularly powerful in what they're able to do with their own abilities. Mm-hmm. So it's the same. It's the same over there, right?
That's right, yeah.
It's so cool. It's as above, so below. As within, so without. It's all, it's amazing. It's just that, and it's so encouraging, too, that your group was able to bring so much evidence forward. And I know people have tried to debunk what you've done, and they just haven't gotten very far, have they?
Well, no, there was a challenge thrown out by the 3 scientists, basically, to sort of say, sort of if anybody thinks that it's not genuine, then please try and replicate it under exactly the same conditions. And no one has ever tried to do that.
Very telling. Very telling. And, I have to wonder why people wouldn't accept the research and the experiment and the results for what they are. I mean, what's the fear in that?
Well, I think particularly within scientists, they learn a particular mindset when they set out on their careers. And in some cases, their careers actually depend on maintaining that mindset. For instance, we knew of a guy who we sat with on a number of occasions in Germany, and he was a lecturer in one of the universities over there, about to retire. And whenever he came to sit with us, he asked specifically that we never let anyone know that he'd been there, purely and simply because if they did, he would lose his pension. So I think there's a few people sort of within the scientific community worried in that same way?
I think that they all are. I mean, I know we had a scientist on here, when was it, 2 months ago, who was talking about some novel ideas that, again, embraced a lot of the concepts that you've brought forth. And he said a very, very interesting statement. It was actually kind of funny. He said, yes, science is moving forward one obituary at a time, just... That's the only way we're going to move forward as scientists, and I think he's right.
This is it.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of cute. But true.
But what I'm really impressed with is not, it's remarkable that you were able to keep this group together for so long and achieve so many, results that couldn't be disputed. But what's more remarkable than that, Robin, is that you have put all of your effort into bringing every bit of this information to light so that people can create their own groups, learn your methods, absolutely connect to all of your knowledge. And I think that is just something that's very rare these days. People like to think that knowledge is power for them, and often
but it's very much a passion. I sort of look upon it as a passion of mine, to be honest, to try and help other people, and that's sort of my aim in life. And also, we were told by our spirit team, the 4 of us that were involved at Scole, that we were actually ambassadors for the spirit world. And I sort of look upon my job these days as being exactly that, ambassadors for the spirit world, to spread the word, spread the truth, and help others to obtain things that we've been able to witness.
And that's remarkable. That's a true awakened soul of your own and an awakening in your group to be able to share this so concisely with everybody. I'm just amazed by it. I think it's awesome.
And your books, too. I want to encourage everybody to buy your books because your books are excellent. In Pursuit of Physical Mediumship and also Witnessing the Impossible are the 2 books that you've written.
That's right.
Highly, highly recommend them to our audience. They're excellent books. Also, the informational book that you put together for people who want to do their own groups, or at the very least, even if you don't want to do your own group, but you want to know what does it take to make this all come together, what does it take to make this happen. The book is excellent, and it's a simple download. You just pay a little bit of money. It's well worth it on the website, and you can get an immediate download. And it's a fascinating, fascinating read of all the different objects involved, the placement, the type, the size of the room, the shape of the room, how all of it has an effect on the result. So I highly recommend all of Robin's books, and they're just great. If you're interested in this, just buy all the books.
Awesome. Well, we have Patrick
good.
from Jacksonville back on the line again. So let's see if we can pick him up this time.
Hi, guys. How's everybody doing?
Good, and I'm sorry about that. Blog Talk sometimes drops calls. So do you have a question for Robin this evening?
Actually, I have a question for everybody.
Okay.
So I turn around and, I lead a fairly happy life, even though I'm divorced. But at the same time, I spent about 4.5 days because of the work that I do. And I'm going to say it that I slept 5 of them. And I turned around and I had these amazing sex dreams.
Well, it looks like we lost Patrick again.
I'll tell you, there's gremlins. There are gremlins at work in Blog Talk.
There are.
Absolutely.
There are. And I'm sorry, we're getting to the end of the program, and I don't know if we'll be able to get Patrick back on if he calls in again. But, it's just, I just can't say it again. I have to say it again, Robin. I love the idea that you're sharing this with everybody, that you want all of the information to get out. And it's remarkable to me that the spirit world has been so responsive in not only communicating with you, but then making other teams to talk to other groups.
Yes, indeed, yeah. Mm.
And
this is happening all the time.
Yeah, and is there any information that's coming out from these other groups that's notable or very different from the kind of information that you received?
There's quite a bit that is coming out, and again, I would, if people are interested in sort of learning about these, a lot of this information is actually appearing on blogs on my website, sort of Physical Mediumship for You, because we have so many members there, and they share their information, they share some of their experiences, and we're finding that a lot of new information is coming out through this. For instance, Kai Muger recently sat with a number of scientists in Austria, and all of those sittings have produced remarkable results and remarkable evidence, which he's detailed in blogs on PM4U. So if people are interested, it doesn't cost them anything to join. They should join that and find out the information from there.
Mm-hmm. Now, with Kai's work, the way you're describing it, does he do this kind of just by himself, or does he have his own group of 4 that he's working with?
He has his own group. It's known as the Felix Experimental Group, and I think they started somewhere around about 2006. But he was inspired to do the work by the Scole Experiment, and the development of his mediumship, and he has an individual mediumship. It's not a group mediumship the same way that Scole was. They started working out along the energy principle, the same as Scole, and they got some very good results. But their circle leader at that time was a scientist himself, very well-known surgeon actually, and he wanted to see ectoplasm. And because of that, Kai the medium agreed to sit for ectoplasm, and his spirit team then started to develop the ectoplasm side. So that now, I mean, it's quite an amazing thing to witness the ectoplasm coming from Kai's mouth, spilling onto the floor. You even find an arm and a hand sort of come up from the floor and wave to everybody from the ectoplasm. It's quite amazing to witness that. And his mediumship is developing so fast. But we have mediums all over the world now are beginning to develop their mediumistic skills in this way. Again, through the site, through that little basic guide, which is helping so many people. And more are coming forwards with it. I mean, I know of 2 people in the UK who are developing their mediumship, 2 women mediums, these, and we haven't had many physical mediums within ladies, for such a long time. But they are getting remarkable results, and all of a sudden, these physical mediums are springing up everywhere, and I mean, it's really great, because the more that it's been so rare that the more the merrier now, so that other people get to witness it, other people get to have the chance of seeing it for themselves, and gradually this is what's coming about.
Why do you think that it's coming about in such an expansive way? Do you think it's because of the media, because more people are attracted to it and aware of it, or do you think that it's the opening of a lot of new energy and also old energy that's being reopened?
That's exactly what it is. It's a reopening of old energy. It's bringing in a whole load of new energy. But also, it's an opening of portals. Portals, again, are the key to it, because portals are the way that the communication is going to go, I think. And there's going to be more and more marrying up of the effort of the spirit team, spirit people, with people from other dimensions. And they're going to be working together, cooperating together, all of which to sort of make mankind better and to make this world better. But they all care for us, and at the end of the day, it is all about love, and they're demonstrating their love for us, and that's now beginning to come out.
Now, the portals that you're talking about, they're to be found everywhere, or only certain parts of the ley lines on Earth, or, I mean... They can actually, they're actually real places, I think, as far as the Earth is concerned. And I do think that some of these portals have been there before, but have been sealed up.
and are now becoming available again. But when a group sits in the way that we recommend to do with energy-based phenomena, then that group will find that the spirit team will probably produce their own portals in the room. In our case at Scole, a mirror was used for the portal within the room when we were sitting, and spirit people literally came through that particular mirror, and it was a teleportation process rather than people building up out of ectoplasm as you would have expected in the older way. So, in fact, the spirit person, their spirit essence was teleported through the mirror and then was able to become solid inside the room. And so this is another form of portal. So the ancient portals that are being renewed, plus portals that can be used in a group such as ours and anybody that's developing this energy-based phenomena.
Well, what I've found, Robin, is in the last few years, it seems much easier to create a portal of any kind when you're doing energy work or connection with the spirit world. And it's
definitely
my assessment that that's because of all the new energy and all the new openings that are, the gateways of light and all of that. It's just making it so much easier to connect with other dimensions. And it's almost like these portals just pop up if you do enough energy work or enough communication. Do you see that happening?
That's it, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the way forwards.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to be on a specific ley line, because I know you had a very powerful spot that you were on when you did the Scole Experiment, but it sounds like what you're saying is you don't even need to have something like that. It's just going to happen anyways.
You don't have to be on a ley line, and we were told that I spoke of these spirals of Earth energy that are natural Earth energy, and they happen to be in certain geographic locations. But if you start your group in a particular place, you can actually attract one of these columns and spirals of Earth energy to the place where you're working. So, in fact, some of them are movable, and therefore you can create your own ley lines in a way by doing that.
But being on a ley line would be more powerful or a bigger opening, right?
Very, very much so. I mean, Scole was on the major ley line in the UK, and that did make a difference. It was the Michael and Mary line that runs right through the whole of the UK.
Fascinating. This has been one fascinating discussion tonight. You are just chock full of information, Robin, and you've given up your evening, your night, your sleep, and everything to be with us.
Not to worry. As I say, I do enjoy passing on information for people.
Now, I know one of the questions that continues to be asked is, if we do a group, how many times a week do we have to meet? So I'm going to ask you that again, because I know that's a question that comes up over and over.
Well, I would suggest that probably in the first instance you sat once a week. That's an ideal time, really. But once things start to happen, you'll find that you'll all get so enthusiastic you'll want to increase it to twice a week.
and I'll have a follow-up to that. Can this be done at a distance by a webinar or by telephone, or must the group physically be in close contact?
No, I think the group would have to be in physical, sort of very, very close contact physically.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait to get started. I'm all excited.
I'm sure you'll do very well.
Thank you. I have to say, Helene, you've gotten a lot braver. So about all this
it
stuff.
It looks that way on the surface, Patricia.
Well, Robin, you're very comforting. I mean, all of your experiences with this have been very positive, very loving. All the entities that have been in contact with you have been light-filled beings, and so I know that that's of great comfort to Helene. And that's all good. I mean, again, everything's such a positive experience. I'm sure you feel a lot of ways like you're meeting old friends when you work with these people from the other side.
Well, very much so. Yes, absolutely. And I mean, the love that you feel when you're actually working with these beings, and you've actually got them walking around amongst you and everything, it is a physical thing in itself. You can feel the love. It's like a wall of wonderful, sort of being that hits you, and you can just feel this positive love coming from these personalities. They're really wonderful spirit people that do choose to work with you.
That's beautiful. That's wonderful. Yeah, it is. It's beautiful. It's encouraging. And again, for people who are living here amongst us today that are dealing with a high level of fear, which is the opposite of love, it's really encouraging, really exciting to hear the possibilities in connecting with a group like what you've connected with, and that you are connecting with again with your next adventure. And it is an adventure.
That's right.
It's an incredible adventure. And you're so lucky to have a lovely wife who's right there with you through the whole thing.
That's the most amazing.
Well, we've been together. We've sort of been married for 34 years, and we've both been involved in this research now for about 40. So it's really great.
Wonderful. I mean, it makes it hard, if one person is really involved in this and the other isn't, and you're so lucky that you both are so committed to this.
Well, occasionally it makes it impossible, and both Sandra and I are actually on a second marriage.
Aha. And that's what happens sometimes. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm afraid it does, yes.
Yes, but you've had a nice long marriage together, and will continue, I'm sure, to be together for many more years with this dedication that you have to this great work. And that's what this really is. It's great work, bigger than any one person or any one group.
Yeah. And we thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us and being so informative to the entire audience, who I know enjoyed it. We had a big listening audience tonight, and we thank our audience for participating and listening to Robin Foy. Please visit his website and buy his fantastic books. And this archive is available for a free download, so you can copy down all the information if you didn't catch it immediately. And it's just been wonderful to have you, Robin. Thank you so much.
Yes, and Robin,
you're very welcome.
Please give your website again. The mediumship for you is http://
http physical mediumship, one word, then 4 as a number, and then the letter U. So physical mediumship for you .ning .com.
Okay, and I just typed that out for our members in the chat room so they can get to it from there. And yes, thank you so much. Just a very eventful interview. Thank you so much. Good luck with the next step in your work.
Thanks very much. Look forward to hearing from you.
Yes, and we hope to have you back again. So we'll be calling you.
Yes,
okay.
Good night, Robin.
Thanks very much. God bless.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Get some rest.
What a fabulous show this has been, huh?
Oh, my goodness. I could talk to Robin all night.
Oh, absolutely. He's amazing. Amazing heart. Just beautiful. And
so much new information. This is
so
new.
Concise. It's so concise.
Yes.
He explains it effortlessly.
He does. I mean, everything is logical in the way he presents it. He presents it so clearly. And it's just, oh, my God, I'm just so grateful that we can get him on the show the way we do, because there's nobody else like him that can talk about it.
No, there isn't, and he's so generous. So generous with his time. Yeah. Yes,
and we're getting compliments on the show. Thank you for a wonderful show. Yes, it was wonderful. It definitely was. And we're going to have another wonderful show next week. And so we hope that you'll all continue to come back and sign up for our newsletter, supernaturalgirls.com. We will be doing more giveaways of signed copies of books from our authors and all kinds of exciting things coming up. So please go to supernaturalgirls.com and sign up for the newsletter.
Yes, and signing up enters you automatically for all the giveaways that are coming up. So once you put your name in our newsletter, then you're on the list for the giveaway. So
you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss that. No. So we hope everybody has wonderful dreams tonight and very restful sleep and success in all that you want success in. Many blessings to all of our audience members.
Yes, Patricia. And it's time to say good night, or Blog Talk will.
That's right. Well, good night, Helene.
Good night, Patricia.
Thanks for listening. Tune in next week for another radio adventure with Supernatural.